Hey there, welcome back. How's it going? Christy, Alonso, and Matt. Coming up next, we have a horror movie that I blissfully got to miss last night.
You're so lucky.
I went to a screening of this documentary called Echo in the Canyon, which we should talk about. It's about the whole Laurel Canyon music scene in the 60s here in LA.
Oh, that's not about the front man for Echo and the Bunny Man.
It looks like the ultimate baby boomer movie.
It's good because they got, we'll talk about it in a couple of weeks when it comes out, but the music is great. But you guys went to see The Curse of La Llorona.
Yes.
So, Alonso, please tell us about how terrible it is.
I didn't think it was terrible.
Or not.
Anyway, it is super tangentially a part of the Conjuring universe.
Is it?
It is
Just barely.
The controversy.
barely the Controverse. It's set
a lot of controversy in this.
It's horrible. It's set in 1973, and Linda Cardellini.
And so is everyone's hair.
Well, and more power to them. I hate it when it's period and they don't even bother. Linda Cardellini plays a woman who works for Child Protective Services. She is a widow. Her husband was a police officer. And one of her clients is a Mexican woman who has locked her kids into a closet. And so, of course, they take her away. They put the kids into safe custody, but what they don't realize is that the reason that the mother had locked away her children was to protect them from La Llorona, which is this legendary, and this is an actual sort of mythical figure, a ghost of a woman who drowned her children because she was angry that her husband was cheating on her, and now goes and searches for other children to replace them. So like she's a story that they tell kids to tell them to behave, or La Llorona will get you.
Does it have to do with tears?
Yes, she weeps a lot.
Okay.
You hear her weeping. That's when you first sort of encounter her. Anyway, so before she knows it, La Llorona or Linda Cardellini's kids are the new target for La Llorona, and Linda Cardellini must turn first to the church and then to a curandero to save them all.
Played by Raymond Cruz, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
And should I know who that is?
He's done a bunch of TV, and he's one of those. He's a Mexican American that guy.
Gotcha.
You recognize him when you see him. He's done a bunch of TV.
Patricia Velásquez plays the mother who locks her kids
Yes.
in the closet.
Yeah, she played. She was the princess in the first two Brendan Fraser Mummy movies.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
The Wayback Machine.
Wayback Machine.
So this movie is dumb but effective. Like I think it is. And again, I'm not a horror guy, and Bibbs has all but told me that my opinion on horror means nothing because I'm a soft touch and it's not my genre. As somebody who is not a horror guy, I was mostly entertained, and so was Dave, and he is a horror guy. I mean, there are the rules of La Llorona. The rules of La Llorona make no sense whatsoever. Like she can make flashlights turn off and she can throw furniture around, but a lock from a hardware store will keep her out. There's just
Right.
the rules are never. There's a thing where like La Llorona grabs one of the kids and they're like, oh no, now that this character is in the spell of La Llorona, and when she calls, this character will come, and then nothing comes to that either. But I have to say, as much as movies like this about ghosts and exorcisms always wind up being big advertisements for the power of Catholicism and or pagan ritual, I was never bored by this movie. It's kind of dumb, but I thought it had a few decent jolts, so it was okay.
I thought this movie was spectacularly dumb.
Well, Alonso's saying it's dumb too,
Yeah,
but he enjoyed it.
I would argue.
It was, yeah, but it's so dumb. It kind of. I was laughing at this movie, not with this movie, and it does some stuff that clearly somebody should know better, right? I felt there's a thing that happens in this movie that tells me oh, these guys want us to be in on the joke, but then the jokes that they want us to be in on and the fun of it and the camp just isn't there. And the thing that gives me that clue is when Linda Cardellini comes home and her daughter's watching Scooby-Doo. Linda Cardellini, who played Velma
right.
in the Scooby-Doo movies. Yeah.
I didn't even think
Right?
about
So
that.
it's a little
Okay,
guys.
That's cute.
Right, and then coupled with the quick shot of how we know that this is in the Conjuring universe.
Right.
I just thought this movie was it was one of those things where it's like you see every goofy thing happening coming kind of a mile away. All the characters, all they really do is run. They're just dopey. The only thing that I thought was kind of interesting is there's a moment with La Llorona towards the climax that it was like, oh, okay, this movie actually did something I wasn't expecting with the amulet, right, with the little necklace. But apart from that, like I just thought it was so, like, and it wasn't. I didn't even find it scary. Like there's no tension building up in anything that I was nervous at any
there
point.
are some moments of like, someone slowly walking towards a room and they hear a thing and what is that thing? And, it's not great. This is nothing special, but I would put this firmly in the category of like a sleepover video horror movie kind of thing.
I guess.
What surprises me is that we aren't seeing more movies like this that are based on Latin like folklore phenomena, because time and time again we find out that demographically speaking, the Latin American audience is a huge demo for horror movies. Mm-hmm. They turn out like crazy, and so like there was like that one what's the series with the oscillating fan and the
Saw
something phenomenon or
paranormal
activity. Thank you. Yeah, I knew it was a long time companion. I knew it was like two long words.
It's all in there.
Paranormal Activity. There was one of the later sequels was like set mainly in like like a Mexican American neighborhood in Los Angeles.
So you had heard of this La Llorona?
I've heard of La Llorona, yeah. Like and there have been actually several Mexican films about La Llorona already. Like she's up there with the Chupacabra. Like she's a star in Mexico. So I was. It's weird that we don't that people are just leaving money on the table for this.
Is there a Santo versus La Llorona movie? Because that would be amazing. Santo, the famous Mexican wrestler.
That would be awesome.
Yeah.
So I mean, I suspect this movie's probably going to do well because so much of the opening weekend audience for horror movies is Latinx that I think they're going to be down for this movie.
I guess part of why I had a problem with this movie is that I have a teenager right now and he's awful, and so really, like, if La Llorona showed up, I'd be like, well, hell, take it. Like, it's cool. Go ahead. Like,
he's just gonna play video games all day.
Yeah, right?
He knows what he did.
Yeah, exactly. Like, oh, believe me. Yeah, he had it coming. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm not going out on a limb here and saying this is anything great, but I was not entertained.
They screened it.
They did screen it.
It premiered at South by Southwest. Like it isn't even like the way they waited till Wednesday. Like it's been floating around.
Okay. Well, what are your numbers then?
I said 6.8. Like it didn't suck.
I think it did suck. I give it a 3.
Wow, that is a vast disparity between the two of you. I'm not sure who to trust, but it is at 30% on the tomato meter. Your average score is a 4.9, and it is at 30% on the tomato meter. So,
oof.
I'm not sure who I trust. Do we trust Matt, who actually likes horror movies, or Alonso, who admittedly knows nothing about them?
Your mileage may vary.
Or are you a better judge because you're open-minded to things?
Look, probably if you're a wimp like me and don't like horror, then this is your brand of horror movie. And if you are like used to what horror can do and expecting more from it, then you'll be bored out of your mind.
What was the last horror movie that we reviewed last week?
We did one last week?
Or a couple weeks ago. It was some...
I don't know. See, that's how good it was. We can't even remember what it was.
I don't know. Anyway.
Did we like it?
Was the one that I was by myself in the theater for. Anyway.
I don't.
You were by yourself.
Yeah. Anyway,
our brain's a sieve.
Right.
Anyway, so
this is what happens if the movies are forgettable. You forget what you've seen.
Exactly.
The Curse of La Llorona.
Yeah.
So yeah, thanks for watching, everybody. You can like this video and subscribe to our channel here on YouTube. Subscribe to the podcast in the places where podcasts live. Follow us at BeFastAllDay on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. And check out our Patreon page at patreon.com/BeFastAllDay. That's going to be the place with exclusive content for Patreon members only, including our recaps of TV shows like Game of Thrones and Fosse Verdon, reviews of new trailers, movie news, and stuff like that. So check it out. Thanks for watching.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye.